All right. Good morning, everybody. This is the video for April the 7th. This one is called Personal Examples. And I'm shooting this morning from the side of the famous and historic Bynum General Store, which isn't really a store anymore, but that's another story. Today I do want to talk about personal examples as they relate to the autoethnography, and I have a few points to make about them. First of all, it's probably useful for us to go back to the definition of autoethnography, which is a study that attempts to describe and systematically analyze personal experience in order to understand cultural experience. For us, that's going to mean understanding personal or using personal experience to understand in-group experience. Your in-group is a kind of culture, right? So it all fits together. In this kind of paper, in this kind of study, the writer is going to use two different kinds of evidence. One of those is personal examples, personal experiences, as a way to show what actually happens within this in-group. The other is the outside sources, which are used in conjunction with those personal examples to give a kind of a broader perspective, to help us understand what those personal examples mean or signify, what they're supposed to be showing us or demonstrating to us about the in-group or the user's in-group or the writer's in-group experience. But today, I want to talk specifically about the personal examples. And because of their role in the autoethnography, they are vitally important. They're not extra. They're vital to it, to the purpose and the point of the paper. It's important that on the one hand we have relevant examples, and on the other that they are fully developed, so that the reader can see what's going on. And like I said, I want to talk a little bit more about these personal examples. One, I think that in order to come up with personal examples related to your autoethnography or related to your in-group, the first thing that you should do is some brainstorming. Generate a list. Think about anything that you can, really, that is going to be relevant to your in-group experience in general, or to the particular topics related to your in-group that you're going to raise in your autoethnography. Make a list. And by personal experiences, really I just mean things that have either happened to you, things that you've said, things that you've done, things that you have personally witnessed other people say or do, right? Even if they did it, you were there when it happened, or you were maybe on the phone with them or in a text with them or whatever. And so you have firsthand knowledge of it, right? That makes it a personal experience. Even cultural ideas, for example, if there's cultural biases toward your in-group in one way or another, whether they're positive or negative kinds of biases, to the extent that you know about those things and are reacting against those things or modifying your behavior because of those things, that counts as personal experience too. So make a list, brainstorm a list of personal experiences. And then, having done that, you can then go on to free write about some of those experiences, right? Generate a list first, see what you have to work with, pick some of those experiences as being either, like more interesting or more relevant, or maybe they're easier to develop. Oh, wait a minute, the car's coming. No, okay. Um, interesting, relevant, well developed, etc. And then you can commit to free writing about those. On our website, I have a list of free writing questions. I think there's like 11, 12, or 13 of them. The first, I think it's 7, deal with your kind of in-group in general. A little bit about in-group experiences, when you became aware of the in-group, how you know who's a member and who's not, when you became aware of the outgroups' opinions about your in-groups, etc. That seventh question, or I think it's number seven, about the truth, right? That's really, I think, and it sounds kind of cheesy, and I apologize, but that's really what your autoethnography is about. What is the truth of your in-group? I've typically used the phrase, what do you want someone to see or understand about your in-group? And that is ultimately the answer to that is the truth of your in-group experience. What does it mean to be a member of your sports team? Or what does it mean to be somebody from your hometown? Or what does it mean to be the first person in your family to go to college, or whatever? Um, what is that truth? And just to be able to free write about that and generate some words and ideas can be really, really helpful in helping you to kind of firm up the point and purpose of your autoethnography, and also help to really kind of deepen your own understanding of what you're about to get into. And that's going to have a benefit in your in autoethnography as well. And then the questions at the bottom of that page have more to do with the personal examples themselves. Pick the first memory you have, pick a good example, pick another example, and describe it as just as best you can. Think about the reporter's questions: who, what, why, where, and when. Flesh it out, get a lot of details. Ultimately, you want to have good concrete examples in your autoethnography, and doing free writing ahead of time allows you to access, to remember all of those details, all the little things that are going to make those examples concrete, and then you can just draw from that when it comes time to write the paper. I guarantee you it'll make writing the paper easier. Beyond that, and perhaps more importantly, it's going to make you better able to make those examples effective in the autoethnography. You're going to be able to make them work for you better. So do the reporter's questions: who, what, why, where, and when. Another thing that you can do as you're free writing these examples is to describe or explain its relevance. Like, what do you, like, just, what do you think this example shows about your in-group? What does this example demonstrate about your experience in the in-group? How does it relate to that truth that you want people to understand about your in-group experience? How does it relate to specific topics that you want to address in the paper, or how does it relate to specific ideas from your outside research? Now, keep in mind, and I should have mentioned this earlier, there does need to be a tight connection between your personal examples and the outside research. They need to be relevant to one another or related to one another. For example, if you're writing about like growing up in your neighborhood, for example, and you found a great outside source about like how kids in the neighborhood become friends, or something like that. But your personal example is about how your older brother or sister gave you milk and cookies when you came home from school. That may be a great example and a great story, and really something that's really important and relevant to your backstory. But what does it have to do with your relationship with the kids in the neighborhood and how you became friends with them? The sad news is that it doesn't. Great example, but not relevant, so it doesn't help you out. So generate the list, right? Do some brainstorming, come up with as many examples as you can, figure out a few that you think are interesting and relevant and that you can develop well. Free write those. Tell everything that you can about them, and then go on to try to free write the relationship between those examples, or that example, and your in-group or your in-group experience, or one of the points you want to make in your paper. Fleshing this stuff out ahead of time, it's, as you know, and I've said many times, it's really helpful. It's great to be able to generate those ideas, generate those words without the pressure of having to draft. Beyond that, what you're doing too is expanding your data set. You have those notes, your free writing, that is material that you have to work with and draw from when it comes time to write the paper. And at some level, it's very similar to the evidence that you're going to have from your outside sources. So write it out ahead of time, and then you'll be able to use it in your paper. And I am at the 9:55 mark, so I am going to stop here. Good luck.